The convent of Santa Lucia was known for its peace and serenity. Nestled in a quiet valley, it served as a spiritual refuge for the nuns and a place of solace for the faithful seeking comfort and guidance. Days passed in a rhythm of prayer, laboring in the fields, and helping the local community. But that tranquility was shaken by an event that cast a shadow of suspicion over the convent itself. It was a winter evening, and the heavy rain made the atmosphere even gloomier. Sister Teresa, one of the elder nuns, walked through the corridors with a candle in hand, heading to the chapel for evening prayers. As she passed a room that was usually empty, she heard a faint noise. It sounded like murmuring voices. Curious, Sister Teresa stopped and pressed her ear against the door. She recognized one of the voices. It was Sister Marta, one of the younger nuns. But there was another voice, deeper and unmistakably male. Her curiosity quickly turned to alarm. Why would a man be there, in an isolated room of the convent, especially at that hour? With her heart pounding, Sister Teresa knocked gently on the door. There was a moment of silence before Sister Marta's tense voice replied, "Who is it?" "It's me, Teresa," the elder nun answered. "Is everything all right in there?" There was a brief exchange of whispers on the other side, then the door opened slightly, revealing Sister Marta's pale face. "Yes, everything is fine," she said, trying to keep her tone calm. But Sister Teresa wasn't convinced. "Who is with you?" she asked, attempting to peer beyond the partially open door. "No one," Marta replied quickly, closing the door firmly. Unsatisfied with the response, Teresa decided to inform the Mother Superior, Sister Beatrice. A short time later, the two of them stood before the room, ready to demand an explanation. This time, Marta opened the door fully, revealing a young man sitting in a corner of the room, his gaze lowered. "Who is this man, and what is he doing here?" asked Sister Beatrice, her tone firm but without anger. Marta hesitated, her face tense with worry. "His name is Andrea," she finally said. "He needs help." The Mother Superior studied him closely. Andrea was young, barely in his 20s. He wore tattered clothes, and his face showed signs of exhaustion and hardship. "Help with what?" Beatrice asked. Marta lowered her gaze, then replied, "He's a drug addict. He came here seeking refuge because he didn't know where else to go. I've known him for a long time, he's the son of a family from my old parish. I thought we could help him." Marta's words left a heavy silence in the room. Sister Teresa, who had remained quiet until then, couldn't hide her disapproval. "Why didn't you tell us anything?" she asked. "Because I knew it would be misunderstood," Marta replied, her voice trembling. "I knew you would judge, that you would think poorly of me or him. But Andrea needed a safe place. I couldn't send him away." The Mother Superior sighed deeply, looking at Marta with a mix of understanding and concern. "Marta, helping others is our duty. But bringing a man here, into the convent, without informing anyone, is a risky decision, not just for you, but for all of us." Marta nodded slowly, aware of the implications of her actions. "I understand," she said. "But Andrea had no one else. I'm only asking you to listen to him before passing judgment." The Mother Superior nodded and gestured for Andrea to stand. The young man, visibly nervous, rose slowly and began to tell his story. He spoke of how he had fallen into addiction after the sudden death of his father, how he had lost everything, his family, his friends, and even a roof over his head. "I don't know why I came here," he admitted, his voice breaking. "But I knew Marta would understand. She was the only one who never abandoned me." Andrea's words cast the situation in a different light. Sister Beatrice remained silent for a long moment, then spoke with a firm tone. "Andrea, we will allow you to stay for tonight. But tomorrow, we will discuss what to do next. Your presence here must be handled with caution, for your sake and for the sake of this community." Marta bowed her head in gratitude, while Andrea murmured a barely audible, "Thank you." But outside the room, whispers among the other nuns had already begun. Despite Marta's pure intentions, suspicion and rumors threatened to turn her act of mercy into a scandal. The next morning, the atmosphere in the convent was tense. The nuns exchanged veiled looks of worry and curiosity as news of a man within the sacred walls spread quickly. Although none of them spoke openly, it was clear that Marta's actions had stirred no small amount of suspicion. In the refectory, Sister Teresa whispered to Sister Agnes, one of the younger nuns. "Nothing like this has ever happened before. A man here? Without informing the Mother Superior? What is Sister Marta hiding?" A few steps away, Marta entered the room, her face visibly tired from a sleepless night. She ignored the murmurs but could feel the weight of judgment upon her. The Mother Superior had asked her to accompany Andrea for a modest breakfast before deciding how to proceed. When Marta brought Andrea into the dining hall, the silence became deafening. Andrea, keeping his eyes down, avoided meeting the gazes of the nuns. He felt their judgment pressing on him like a heavy weight. After eating in silence, he followed Marta and Sister Beatrice to the Mother Superior's office for a deeper conversation. "We need to find a way to help you while also protecting the integrity of the convent," began the Mother Superior. "Your presence here cannot be sustained for long. Have you considered a rehabilitation program or someone who could take care of you?" Andrea shook his head. "I have no one. And I can't afford a clinic." Sister Marta intervened, her voice filled with determination. "We can help him, Mother. I'm not saying he needs to stay here, but we can find a solution. That's our duty." Beatrice looked at her with a mix of admiration and concern. "Marta, I understand your desire to help. But our duty is complex. We must think of the community as a whole, not just one individual." Meanwhile, outside the office, unrest was growing. Some nuns, led by Sister Teresa, began questioning whether it was appropriate for Marta to continue taking care of Andrea. "She's too involved," said Teresa. "What if there's more to their relationship?" The insinuations grew bolder, and an anonymous voice went so far as to suggest that Marta had endangered the convent for the sake of a secret relationship. These suspicions soon reached the Mother Superior, who summoned Marta for a direct confrontation. Marta entered the office, her heart in turmoil. Beatrice, seated behind her desk, asked in a serious tone, "Do you know what is being said about you, Marta?" The young nun nodded, visibly shaken. "I know, Mother. But they're just rumors. I acted with my heart and conscience, not with ulterior motives." Beatrice studied her intensely. "I believe you, Marta. But you must understand that appearances matter. In a community like ours, where trust is essential, even the slightest doubt can cause irreparable harm." Marta lowered her gaze, tears beginning to fall. "I didn't mean to cause trouble for anyone. But when I saw Andrea in that state, I couldn't turn my back on him." That evening, Beatrice decided to address all the nuns gathered in the refectory. "Sisters," she began, "it is our duty as a community not to jump to hasty judgments. Sister Marta acted with compassion, but her decision has raised valid concerns. Andrea will not remain here, but we will find a way to help him together." The Mother Superior's words seemed to calm the atmosphere, but some nuns, including Sister Teresa, continued to harbor doubts. Meanwhile, Marta and Andrea spoke at length in the secluded room. Andrea was visibly torn. "Maybe I should leave," he said. "I don't want to cause you any trouble." "It's not you who's the problem," Marta said firmly. "You're here because you need help. And if God brought you here, there's a reason." Andrea nodded, but guilt gnawed at him. "I don't understand how you can be so kind to me after everything I've done in my life." Marta placed a hand on his shoulder. "Everyone deserves a second chance, Andrea. It doesn't matter how far we think we've fallen. What matters is the will to rise again." The Mother Superior managed to contact a shelter for young people in need in a nearby city. Andrea would be welcomed there and given access to a rehabilitation program. The decision was announced to the nuns, but despite the good intentions, some still believed Marta was too personally involved in the matter. On the morning of Andrea's departure, he thanked Sister Marta with tears in his eyes. "I'll never forget what you've done for me," he said. "Don't thank me," Marta replied with a smile. "Thank God for guiding you here. Now it's up to you to find the strength to rebuild your life." As the car taking Andrea drove away from the convent, Marta knew the real challenge wasn't over. The whispers and suspicions among her sisters continued to loom like a cloud over her. But in her heart, she was sure she had done the right thing. The days following Andrea's departure were tense for Sister Marta. The rumors circulating in the convent didn't seem to settle. Although the Mother Superior had reminded the community to avoid hasty judgments, some nuns continued to spread doubt. Marta walked the corridors with her head down, aware of the furtive glances and whispers that stopped as soon as she entered a room. She had accepted that her actions might be misunderstood, but the weight of that misunderstanding was still hard to bear. One morning, during collective prayer, the Mother Superior spoke in a calm but firm voice. "Sisters, our journey of faith does not ask us to judge but to understand and forgive. It is easy to point fingers when we don't know the whole truth. Sister Marta has shown compassion and courage in a difficult situation. If there's one thing we should learn from this, it is that mercy must always come before suspicion." The Mother Superior's words left many nuns in reflective silence, but Sister Teresa remained unconvinced. She decided to speak directly with Marta, hoping to better understand her motivations. That evening, Teresa knocked on Marta's door. The young nun, though surprised by the visit, invited her in. Teresa wasted no time and asked, "Why did you do what you did? You knew it would create problems, yet you risked everything to help that boy." "Why?" Marta sighed deeply, sitting down at the table. "Because Andrea reminded me of something," she began. "Before I took my vows, I was just a normal girl, with friends and a carefree life. But I also had a brother, Giovanni. He was a good person, but he got lost in drugs. I couldn't save him." Marta's words were heavy with emotion. Teresa remained silent, listening intently. "Giovanni died before I could help him," Marta continued, tears streaming down her face. "When I saw Andrea, I saw my brother. I couldn't turn away, Teresa. I couldn't abandon him the way I feel I abandoned Giovanni." Teresa moved closer, placing a hand on Marta's shoulder. "I didn't know. I'm sorry for doubting you." Marta looked at her with a faint smile. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that Andrea has a chance. I can't change the past, but I can do something for the present." Meanwhile, Andrea had begun his rehabilitation journey at the facility recommended by the Mother Superior. Although the first days were challenging, the kindness and patience of the staff helped him feel accepted. He had even started keeping a journal where he recorded his thoughts and reflections. One day, Andrea decided to write a letter to the convent. He felt the need to express his gratitude not only to Sister Marta but also to the community that, despite initial doubts, had given him the chance to start anew. The letter arrived at the convent a week later. During lunch, the Mother Superior stood to read it aloud. "Dear sisters, I don't know if I can ever thank you enough for what you've done for me. When I came to you, I was lost, hopeless, and convinced that my life no longer had value. But thanks to Sister Marta and your kindness, I've realized it's never too late to change. Sister Marta showed me that forgiveness exists, not just from God but also from ourselves. I can't change my past, but I can build a better future, and it all started because of you. With eternal gratitude. Andrea ****. The reading of the letter left many of the nuns in tears. Even Sister Teresa, who had been one of the most skeptical, found herself reflecting deeply. Her final words were, "Perhaps we were too quick to judge. Marta did what each of us should do, act with love, without fear of the consequences." The Mother Superior, pleased with the community's reaction, decided to take an additional step. She proposed organizing a fundraiser for the facility hosting Andrea, to help other young people in need as well. The response was overwhelming. The convent's community united to gather resources, involving the faithful from the local parish. Within a few months, they managed to donate a significant amount, enabling the facility to expand its recovery programs. Marta, though remaining humble, finally felt accepted and understood by her fellow sisters. The gesture that had initially been misunderstood became a lesson in compassion for the entire community. Months later, Andrea returned to visit the convent. He was a new man, stronger, more confident, and determined to pay forward the kindness he had received. "I wouldn't be here without you," he told Marta, his eyes filled with gratitude. "It wasn't me," she replied with a smile. "It was your strength that brought you here. I just believed in you." The meeting ended with hugs and smiles, and Andrea left the convent with a new mission, to help other young people overcome the same struggles he had faced. The convent of Santa Lucia was never the same again. That episode taught everyone that true faith is expressed not just in prayers but in acts of mercy and love toward others. We should never judge by appearances. Behind every misunderstood action may lie an act of extraordinary kindness. Compassion and forgiveness are the most powerful tools for transforming lives and the world. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Let us know in the comments, would you have done the same in their place? Would you have had this courage? Share the video with your friends. See you next time.